Good morning. Reverend Gabe Beauregard here with the Alpine Church of Spiritual Living. Glad that you can join us. Let me start with reading the Thought for the Week that was published this last week. There's no doubt the old adage is true. Nothing is permanent but change. Change is the vehicle through which we move through this life experience. And isn't it wonderful? They say if you don't like the weather, don't worry, it'll change. Yes, the weather, our bodies, our minds, our friends, and our circumstances, that and more will change. Yet, there is within us and within everything an eternal now that is changeless. It is an impersonal principle producing and governing life itself. Yes, the weather changes, but there is a consistency to the seasons, to the rising and setting of the sun and the ebb and flow of the tides. Mankind is made from and as this substance that is eternal. That is why, even though we add birthday candles to the cake, we still feel young at heart. Yes, the body has a cycle like everything else, yet our spirit is eternal. When we can consciously tap into this changeless, formless being, we will be set free to discover and create a life of immeasurable joy. Tapping into our own unique creativity and knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are continually led and guided to our highest good allows us to make the shift, as Wayne Dyer put it, from nowhere to now here, from spirit to form. Nothing is impossible, unattainable, or unachievable to those who live from this eternal presence. Say with me, I am the master of my own house, my own mental and spiritual domain. And therefore I act with confidence and grace. There is a peaceful settling in my bones, that wherever I am, God is, and all is well. So let's go ahead, and I invite you to just close your eyes, open up your heart and your consciousness, your awareness, to this eternal divine being that is within, that kingdom of heaven that is always available to us. Just seek into that, sink into that awareness that this love is my pure being. And it wants nothing else but to bring me my highest and best good. Feel that energy, feel that vibration of excitement, of expectancy. Know that we co-create with this being, that we do have domain. And so as we speak our word and we know within our whole being that we are being divinely led and guided, let us be open to chart new territory. So as we listen in the next few moments for the message that will be coming through, be receptive to what is the message for my ears, for my heart, for my knowing this very day. Poise yourself for that receptivity. I know that as we go forth for the balance of this day, that each of us is able to put forth into action whatever inspiration, whatever ideas come forth to us this moment. So for this I am grateful. I say thank you, Mother, Father, God. I let this word, this knowing go into the law, this law that reflects back in perfect timing and perfect order. Knowing it is so, together let us say, and it is so. Amen. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. This is one of my favorite mantras, for it absolutely brings me into that awareness of the eternal now. I am. I am is the name of God, right? I am. And I just love the fact that it is in the current moment. It is in the now. It's not I was or I will be. It is I am. Always, constantly, eternally. I love that. And it so helps to place us in the now. That is our true nature when we allow it to be. So our topic this morning is entitled The Eternal Now. And it is something that is just here, yet in our human experience, it can be so elusive because our monkey mind pulls us so much into the past and into the future, and especially now with this COVID-19 virus, really global experience that we're having here, and the availability of knowing so much that is going on in this day of technology, that it's really a challenge to stay in the now, because we can go into the what if scenarios. Well, what if this or that or the other thing, and it's a fear-based thing. When we stay in the now, what that allows us to do is to be the passive observer of life's constant changes. When we can bring into our awareness that keen, uninfluenced observer, that passive observer. How beautiful is that? To just allow life to be. Oh my goodness, yes. The British Roman Catholic priest, Gerald Van, he was a theologian and philosopher. He was born like at the beginning of 1900s. He said, "If you see things in eternity, you are less prey to the pain of their passing. So you can learn the more easily not to clutch at them as they pass. You learn to be reverent and not proudly possessive." You learn to be reverent and not proudly possessive. You see, this life is the life of God. It is the life of the eternal. That is changeless, absolutely. But it has placed us on this earth plane to be playing this game of change, playing the change game. And how wonderful is that? I know I've told you I'm watching my little 2-year-old granddaughter now. And it is a fabulous thing to do, especially when you realize that she has my 100% undivided attention. There's not, I'm not like when I raised my children where you were thinking they have to do this and this and this. No, 100% of the time, that's where I'm at. Well, on Friday, I had my first faux pas, I will admit, with her. We were playing and this and that, and she wanted to take a ride in the stroller. So I said, okay, that's fine. And I glanced down and I noticed that she didn't have any shoes on. But I thought, well, she's just taking a ride in the stroller. No big deal. So we get out there and she said, well, where are you going to go? Well, I want to go to the park. All right, so the park is about a block and a half away. So we walk down to the park, and well, then of course she wants to get out of the stroller. Duh. And I thought, well, I walk in the grass all the time. barefoot because it's good for you. You know, those minerals come up through your feet. My doctor told me do that as much as you can. But oh yeah, well I'll take my shoes off too, Adeline, and we can walk through the grass together. And she hadn't been a minute in the grass, and she was just out ahead of me a little bit when all of a sudden she started crying. I mean, and a really heavy cry, like a screaming cry. And I went up to her and I go, "What?" And she put her little arms up to me, and she had her foot held up. So I looked at her foot, and there was like a little stick in there, a little twiggy thing, and I just, took it out. But she was screaming and wouldn't stop. And then I realized, oh, that little twiggy stingy thing was a stinger. Yes, it was a bee sting. She had gotten stung by a bee. And she was just crying to beat the band. Well, I had to admit, I can't handle the situation at the moment by myself. We're a block and a half away from the house, and I've got this kid that wants to be held and a stroller to be taken back, and that is not happening. So I made the phone call to the parents, and Lindsay comes running down to there and grabs her, and of course she's still crying. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I felt so bad. I felt like I was just so remiss in my actions with her. So anyway, we got home, and then Burke is there too, my son, and they're like, well, what do we do? What do we do? I said, well, my father always said you make a paste of baking soda and water and put that on there, and it's supposed to draw the venom out. So we did that. We gave her some Tylenol. We Googled what else were we supposed to do. And so Lindsay sat down with her on the couch. And of course, we tried to make the diversion of playing Mickey Mouse Club, which she was watching, but she was still crying. So I just sat there, just again saying, I'm so sorry. And I was so appreciative because both Burke and Lindsay said, oh, Mom, come on, don't worry about it. He said, we've had her walk in the backyard in the grass before, and besides, she's going to get stung by a bee at one point or another anyway. So don't worry about it, which made me feel a lot better. She finally settled down. So I said, let's sit on Grammy's lap. And we watched more of the Mickey Mouse. And then we turned it off. And I knew that she was pretty spent. I mean, crying that hard and everything. And I think the Tylenol had kicked in. So she had settled down. And I was sitting with her on my lap. And I started singing, Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, Tooraloo-ra-lii, Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. Oh, hush, now don't you cry. Oh, Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, Tooraloo-ra-lii, Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. That's an Irish lullaby. Well, I started to sing this, and I sing this to her every day when I put her down for her nap. But she's in the crib, and she has her binky in her mouth. Well, this time she was right on my lap, and I was singing the song. She started singing it with me. It was so cool. I didn't know that, because she's going to sleep, I never thought about the fact that she was actually learning the song. That was a moment that warmed my heart. Then why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you this for a reason, because it totally relates to what we're talking about today. We're talking about living in the now. The wisdom of a 2-year-old that lives in the now is amazing. They say that they have a short attention span, but she also is so enveloped in no matter what it is she's doing. I mean, she's got the most attention to detail I've ever seen. You're walking down the sidewalk, and there's a hole in the sidewalk. Their sidewalks were built in like 1929, 28, because they still have the stamp on the sidewalk. And so some of them have like a hole, like, there was a pocket, like an air pocket, I guess. And inside that little hole is, the tree things fall into it, the seeds or whatever, little pods. She will get down and she'll look at this and she'll go, look. And I think, I didn't even notice that kind of thing. But it's a lesson for us to be aware, to be observant to what is right here and right now. And it's also a lesson that she was able to cry her heart out. I mean, she was living in the moment and let us know, I'm hurting. And that's okay to express yourself that way. But then when she was soothed, she started singing because that was the moment that she was at. There was a Gallup pollster interviewed a Midwestern woman. This was several years ago now, and they were in search of the secret for a long life. So she said to them, "Don't be frustrated. All my life I cried when it was time to cry. I laughed when it was time to laugh, and I sang when it was time to sing." The good lady, the pollster reported, was still strikingly attractive at the age of 102. A fresh, receptive spirit and a healthy curiosity keeps us young in heart, mind, and body. We are made of this eternal stuff that is always going to be. Take the advice of the 102-year-old lady. Live in the moment. Do what you need to do at that moment. Have that spirit of curiosity. Have that spirit of being in the now. One of the other things we do in the morning at Adeline's is that they have Alexa, and so you can say, "Alexa, turn on toddler music." And of course it comes on with a variety of different songs, and one of them that it usually always plays is from that movie Frozen. And let it go, let it go. And of course, I know every parent's probably had enough of that song, but there's wisdom in that song. Let it go. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and I'm going to let myself go of any consternation and be who I am. One of the other songs that comes up is "Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream." How much wisdom is in that song? To row our boat, we have to do something. We're rowing our boat, but gently down the stream of life. We don't have to fight the current, and do it merrily. Because why? Life is but a dream. We are here for just a parenthesis in time, just a short, short time that our soul has come here to play in this earth playground. And we will go back to wherever we came from, and wherever that is, God is. So to recognize that this life is a place where we can grow, we can mature, and I'm talking about spiritually here. I'm talking about remembering to remember to go back to who and what we are. This energy of divine creativity, to have that confidence within ourselves that there is something within me that is leading me and guiding me when I am open and available and receptive to it. If I just have to have ears to hear and eyes to see, it will lead me. Let me be patient. Let me be guided. I wanted to share with you the reading of today on the Daily Word because I think it says a lot, again, in our topic today, and it's called Let Go and Let God. I let go and trust the divine in me. When faced with a decision to make, do my thoughts turn immediately to divine guidance, or do I seek God's help only when all else fails? Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote that God loves to be used. And the more you use him, the more easily you use him, and the more pleasant his help becomes. To get into that habit of recognizing and knowing that there is this energy within me. Let me use it. Let me be a part of it. Let me allow its energy to come through me. God lives in me and expresses through me. All the attributes of God are as near as my next thought. I release my attachment to limited human reasoning. I release my attachment to the outcome that I think it needs to be. I center my mind and heart on the constant flow of divine love, wisdom, understanding, and strength. In the divine flow, I find answers to questions. New possibilities for good emerge. I move forward with confidence. From there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you search after him with all your heart and soul. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 29. I believe that there is no spot where God is not, that we can never ever be separated from our good, from our God, that life does flow gently when we are in union with it. And yes, there are going to be times when we're going to cry, and there are times when there's going to be pain and there's going to be disappointment. Of course, we're going to acknowledge that. We're not going to avoid it. That's part of the life experience. But we can grow from it. We can get beyond it. We can know that whatever life happens, even if we're going gently down that stream of life, if we hit a rapids, that unexpected rapids, we have within us this absolute power that will carry us through it. And right now, how much more example can we have than this virus that's going around? We are coming out and through it and on the other side of it. Just like I said, how many weeks ago? It came to pass, it didn't come to stay. So remember to go within, acknowledge who and what you are, the divine in expression. So use the mantra, use my mantra. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am God. Blessings. Namaste. Love you.